Singing of our national anthem, representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, season 5, episode 30, titled Devils Players at Worlds, Utica down 2-1 in the series. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Scotty. No, not Scotty. Short Scott.
No.
And Beer
There
Baron.
is a Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a Scott.
Yeah, one of us.
That's right.
We
Yeah.
just
The other
don't have
one.
a Scotty.
The other guy.
As we're
you
streaming
know what?
live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. I'm not going to talk about it till it's over.
That's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
don't.
You know,
Yeah, don't touch.
Beer Baron, you know what I was going to say? Because he's not here to defend himself, it's the other Scott that doesn't know.
Oh,
Listen, Scott.
finally.
Oh.
Finally. Thank you. I can
I'm gonna
bask in
get-
the glory of that for once.
I'm gonna get crap from that from him at some point.
That's all right. He deserves it. He deserves it. He's unfortunately stuck in terrible California traffic. And that happens. But
it happens.
yeah,
We've all
dude,
hit that.
bummer about Utica being down 2-1, but they they lose 2 games in a row in overtime, so it's not like they're getting their doors blown off. The guys are getting experience. Muhammad Doolin's now in the lineup, so
Yep.
2 games in a row for him, I believe, and some valuable life lessons for these guys. So hopefully they can pull it around. It's a do or die game, do or die game next game. So
Yeah, no, absolutely, and this is kind of what you want these guys to be in these situations down there in the AHL for the playoffs. You know,
Yep.
you want them to be in those must-win games now, so that when we get into those must-win games in the future in the NHL playoffs, they're better prepared. Now, granted, the AHL and the NHL there's a considerable gap between the two, but just being in those must-win games, in those high-pressure situations, that's really what you want.
yeah, and that goes for the guys that are at Worlds too. Luke Hughes had a beautiful goal for the U.S. on a breakaway that sealed the deal for them against Austria. In a game that shouldn't have been as close as it was, but it ended up being close enough where, he had to play hero. But all these things, like you said, the AHL playoffs for these guys, especially because last year in Binghamton, they were in the dumpster with the NHL level team as well. So now these guys are actually getting playoff experience. They're getting that, running deeper into a season, which means they're going to be playing more games, which means you're putting more wear and tear on your body, which is something that they have to get used to going into the NHL level as well. And you got the guys that jumped over into the Worlds, which have been, doing all right for the Devils. There's a couple of guys there that are putting up some points over there. So all this experience is great. I just can't wait until we're watching meaningful games in April, in May. You know what I mean? Like, I miss the warm-time hockey.
Yeah. Where you can comfortably tailgate, for hours before the game. It's that fun when you can, comfortably wear shorts to a game, unlike those miserable walks from the parking lot that I endure wearing shorts to a game in January. But yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I feel like the future's bright. Obviously, the Devils getting the number 2 overall pick. I mean, that's a big thing too, and that's kind of like,
oh yeah, that was unexpected.
Sam just showed up. What's up, buddy?
Oh no, keep talking.
Are you hanging out? Oh, you just, okay. Right.
No.
I was just hanging out, but you don't want me. I'll leave.
Oh, that was okay. So that was like a parent move right there. Like walking in a room, like, hey, what are you guys doing? You guys okay? You guys anybody want some chips? You want some chips? No? Okay, I'll go in the other room. But yeah, dude, I'm surprised the Devils win something to win the draft lottery again. They don't get the number 1 overall pick, but they do get the number 2, which is a great landing spot. And listen, and I were saying it before. I don't know enough about these guys yet to start pontificating who I think they should take in the draft. I see a lot of people are like, take Cooley or take Slavkovsky, and I'm probably mispronouncing that, but I don't know. I got to look into this. It's exciting, but there's a lot of opportunity with this number 2, and some people are saying possibly trade it. Do you think they should explore that avenue?
So, short answer is I think they should explore every avenue. If a trade opportunity that you cannot pass up is presented to you for that number 2, mostly to get us an established starting goaltender, I say you at least have to take the phone call. I think you need to pick up the phone when it rings and see what offers, if any, come into you, and then take that and weigh it against what drafting, and like you said, we don't really know. I haven't looked of what these kids are capable of, but yeah, you at least have to entertain any and all conversations just to do your due diligence. I think that as a I just think as a good manager, as a good GM, you at least have to hear the offers, and if something comes up that you cannot pass up, then you have to. I think we've been burnt with these first round trades in the past. Like with the Corey Schneider, which started off great and wound up being not so great at the end. But I think you at least have to pick up the phone and have the conversation and see what's offered. I think it's only fair to have that conversation. What about you? What do you think?
I'm kind of in that same boat, but at the same time, like number 2, I don't know. Like if they fell into that 5 area where they should have been picking, I would have been like, hell yeah, you trade that pick if you want to trade it, or you take every phone call. But number 2, there's a lot of like really, really good. You do for sure. You could get
a lot more capital in a number 2.
Oh, 100%. You get a lot more capital. You can maneuver. I know. Chris. Wow, I keep calling him Chris Villano for whatever reason. Chris Villano is the evil twin brother. Nick Villano had you could tell I've been having a few beers during the day because my brain just definitely doesn't want to work right now.
Yeah, right. Ooh, nice.
He had a Pucks and Pitchforks article the other day about the Devils possibly using that number 2 overall pick and going after somebody like Tkachuk from Calgary. Now, I 100% would be on board with that because you're getting a young, proven player who arguably had one of his best seasons. And Nick pointed out in the article, which I thought he pointed out really great, is a lot of people will say, well, what if it's a fluky season? Well, he had that season because he had a centerman in Johnny Gaudreau, who is very similar to a centerman that we have, who is now blossoming into a superstar in Jack Hughes. So if you're going to do it, if you're going to pull this trade off, you have to. It can't be like, give us some guy that could be good. Because we could get that through the draft. Like if we want to get a could be good, potential good, or like, oh yeah, this guy's ceiling is through the roof. It's like, great, that's great. We could draft that at 2. We could get that. You can get Cooley, who's phenomenal playmaking center, or you can get Slavkovsky, who's a power forward at 6'4". The kid's 18 years old and he's like 6'4" and like 200 some pounds.
Yeah,
and
right.
Just like an absolute monster of a human being who can actually, do all the things of an elite player at an early age. And, you hope that he develops into it.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is I think that they could go in either direction and I'd be okay with it. As long as the trade is for you're getting something decent, but not decent. You're getting something great in return.
Yeah, you're getting something that's established and tangible and that can impact the team right away, because most of these guys in the draft, I don't, without doing much research, I don't know if any of these guys are NHL ready. If these guys are not NHL ready, then that's something that you have to
2 years, 3
well.
years away. Yeah,
2-3 years down the line. Whereas if you were to trade this number 2 and get something that's established right now, then it's absolutely something that you should have a conversation about.
And Sam, before you get to your point, these guys being like 2-3 years away. Hold on, I'm sorry, Sam. I just want to say this: these guys being 2-3 years away, that's 3 more years that you're wasting of Jack and Nico. And their window of prime could be, they're very young. I think, Jack just turned 21. So it's not like his prime is going to be gone in 3 years. He might be getting into the best of his prime in 3 years. Who knows? But at the same time, like, if you're going to get one of these guys, it has to be a can't miss. And if you're going to make a trade for it, it's got to be something that's proven that can jump into the lineup and make an immediate impact, and a significant impact at that. Go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first time the Devils have the second overall pick since Kirk Muller? Has it been that long?
Niedermeyer was the second pick, wasn't he? Or is he third?
The third. He was third.
He was third? Okay.
I think.
Could be.
That was a long time ago.
Could be.
It's irrelevant what I was going to say. Because Jake Wakely, welcome back. He hasn't been watching us live on the Facebook Live. But Jake Wakely, good friend of the podcast because he followed us in the beginning, asked about, who we would prefer. And Jake Wakely says Shanahan in 1987. Thank you, Jake Wakely.
I was just looking that up.
I think, honestly, with the second overall pick, unless you're going to get multiple picks in 2023, which is, supposed to be a deep draft, I say you draft. Take one of these guys, but take the best available. I don't care how many centermen the team has. That's what they did in Pittsburgh, and it worked out well. I mean, you remember there was they did take Jordan Staal, Ray Shero over Taves, but you know what? They had a 1-2-3 down the middle, and it was able to put them over the hump for that first cup. With Sidney Crosby. So and the importance of keeping that pipeline filled is important, because right now, Utica, although down 2-1 right now, the Devils haven't had a farm team that was a legitimate contender for the
since the River
Calder
Rats.
Cup. Yeah, since the River Rats, Jay Pandolfo,
Yeah.
Because other than that, it's just been a throwaway developmental development, league for farm system for the Devils. But right now they actually assemble a team, and they've got decent players right now playing that could be the
Mm-hmm.
future of the New Jersey Devils. And you've gone this far in the rebuild. What's another year? Why rush it? However, I
Well,
will say the Matthew
mm,
Tkachuk thing intrigues me because you're right, Beer Baron. I agree with that too. But it has to be the right person that you would bring in.
Well,
but
yeah, well, obviously.
I think he would be the right person because he brings a lot of intangibles that this team is missing.
Plus a family
bringing in,
connection.
yeah,
There's obviously
a
a family
family
connection
connection.
right there.
But you're
Little
bringing
nepotism.
you're bringing in a kid. Yeah, you're bringing in a kid who has grit, who's a proven commodity, who's on his way to being, a perennial all-star himself. So it's not like you're bringing in a guy who's like, oh, okay, yeah, he had a decent season one year. There's a lot of tangibles to his game that would fit the mold of this team perfectly. And that's, listen, I know upper management always says the right thing, or they constantly, oh, this is unacceptable and we need to blah 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 blah. Like, okay, thanks for the lip service. Like, are we going to be in the basement again next year looking at a draft lottery situation? Because in all honesty, we've said this before, being in a situation where you're going to win the number 2 overall pick, it's great and all, but it gets boring after a while. Because that means your team's been horrible. That means you sucked so bad that the only thing that you could win is the draft lottery. I mean, listen, if we get to a point where we're picking in the high 20s again and in the later round of the first round, I'll be super happy because that means the team will be good. Yeah. That means we'll be winning. That means we'll be in the playoffs. We'll be playing meaningful warm weather hockey.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's what I want. That's what you want. That's what the fans want, And honestly, I think next season, Jack Hughes just turned 21 yesterday. He just turned 21. And, Bratt has proven himself to be an upper echelon, possibly on the cusp of an elite player. Nico Hischier took a big step forward. I think Nico and Jack flourished under Lindy versus John Hines. And I think, again, I really think that the Devils, if they just don't get distracted, keep doing what they're doing. I don't think next year we're talking playoffs either. I think next year is going to be a lot of up and downs. I think it possibly will lead to the firing of Lindy Ruff, potentially, because that would be the right time, I think. And I know you guys don't like him, but you know what?
No,
I don't care. I don't care who's coaching next season. I don't think it makes a difference.
I'm really curious to see why Shorts Guy was groaning about it, though. Go ahead.
Why? Because I don't like mid-season coaching moves like that. Now, obviously, if the Devils have just started and just completely tanked, you have to make a move. Because I feel like when you make those mid-season coaching moves, like when you go to try something out, like we're potentially going to be doing, you're then panic buying a new coach. If there's because there's very little available. Within the next couple of weeks, that's the most coaching availability that there will be until this, about this time next year. So that's why I don't like that whole, well, let's try him out, and if he doesn't work, we'll fire him, and then what? And then you have to hope that there's someone that's worthwhile available for you to pick up as your coach. Like, you have to have a plan. Now that doesn't mean that if it's not working with Lindy Ruff, then we got to stick with him and suck all season again. But it's just, I'm very wary of that.
I think it's demeaning.
Yeah, but I'm just so wary about that. Well, we'll try him out and then we'll figure it out if it goes to hell. Well, you're panic buying when it goes to hell. You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
it's like
100%.
if your car dies on a Tuesday and you have a trip on a Friday and you have to buy a new car, you're going to buy the first one you can get, and you may not really want that vehicle. You know,
Well, unless you get it
that's my
from
worry.
David Decker at Town
Well,
Toyota in
obviously.
Ledgewood. I mean, David Decker comes up with the best Toyotas ever. Route 46 in Ledgewood, David Decker, call him. By the way, I'm going to see David Decker on Tuesday while I take my wife's vehicle. Obviously, it's a Toyota for an oil change. David Decker,
There you go.
first class service. When you need a car, need a Toyota brand new, and you need some help financing, David Decker gets it done. No
You know,
credit,
and
that's
I
no
not a
gotta
problem.
paid. That's not a.
No,
that's not
but
a
you know
paid
what?
promotion.
It's not a paid promotion, but I can back up Sam's vote of confidence in Dave, because I actually was in that tight spot, and Dave helped me find the current truck I'm driving in, and it was actually the perfect purchase in a sort of a
This is
tight spot.
probably
But
what happened. This is probably what happened when you talk to David Decker. He's probably like, "Yo, Shorts guy, you're a Devils fan?" And then you said yes. All right, 0% financing. I'll figure it out. If we have to fudge some numbers, we'll get it through.
Dave already knew who I was when I spoke to him about the vehicle.
Yeah, that's right.
Dave already knew who I was. But I'm just saying, like, it's a and thank you again, David Decker, for your help. But again, I don't want to have to panic buy a coach when there may not be coaches readily available in November, because then you're kind of stuck with that coach until, you know, hopefully you make it, and it may not be the right person. That's why I made that noise, just because the idea of, well, if it doesn't work, we'll fire him and find something else. I kind of would like but at that, and then again, at that point, unless you have a coach on staff that you're going to elevate to the head coaching role, you have someone that's going to come in and you're going to burn time, them getting used to the players getting used to that new coach. I don't know. I just think that if they're going to make a decision, they got to stick with it. And obviously, if they're tanking, then yes, they've got to make a move. But I don't know that.
Well,
That
you know
whole,
what I
well,
didn't like?
we'll fire him if it doesn't go
I didn't
well.
like the rush to judgment when Barry Trotz got fired. Everyone's like, "Oh, go get him, bunch of morons." But I don't think he's the right coach for this team at the moment.
Yeah,
No,
but I don't
and-
think I. Go ahead, Shorts guy.
No, I was gonna say little Steve was asking me that question, because that it would definitely change up our entire system, and I honestly can't remember how I answered that question because it was a week ago, and I can't remember what I did this morning. But it's at least someone that you have to you maybe want to at least have a conversation with them. At this point with the way this team is going,
Of course,
you have to have a conversation with everybody. It feels like.
everyone and everything
About everything.
drive up the price.
Yeah.
Drive up the price.
But I agree with you in the whole switching to coach in midseason. I think is always like a move of desperation, and I think it worked for the St. Louis Blues, and that might be it. When was the last time? I mean, there's cases where
Robbie
it's worked in the
Fatorik.
past. Robbie Fatorik. Okay,
Yeah.
it's
fired.
worked. But how many
Claude
times has
Julien?
it failed?
Oh, no,
how many
that
times
worked.
has it failed? How many times has it failed? It's failed way
it's a
more
matter-
than it's worked.
It's a matter of, if you're going to fire midseason, then you have to have a ready replacement ready to go, and
Yeah.
you're not panic buying.
A capable one too, not like your
Yeah.
GM coming in coaching the team from behind the bench and not doing a so-so job.
Yeah. We're in
Surprised he
we're in
didn't
first
fire
place.
himself.
Yeah.
We're in first place with a handful of games to go. I'm sorry, you're fired.
Yeah.
I wonder if he
Never
fined
made-
himself
that didn't
after he
make
threw the jelly on the wall.
He might have.
Yeah.
He might have.
But I mean, there's a few, and who has just jelly laying around in a glass jar laying around the locker room?
Only the Flyers.
Hey, wait! What?
only
Hey,
the Flyers
no! Don't touch
organization.
don't touch my my jelly. That's my signature grandma's jelly. It's good luck.
It was obviously peanut butter jelly time.
Yeah,
That was such a
Peanut
bad
butter.
song.
And now it's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the night. I'm going to be trying to go to
Yeah,
sleep.
thanks a lot.
Peanut butter
Thanks a lot,
jelly
Shorts
time.
guy.
Good. Hey, you're
But
welcome.
listen, you don't have to necessarily get rid of Lindy Ruff. You don't have to fire him you could move him into a player development role, which I think he would be just fine. And I know all of us here respect Lindy Ruff, and I know when we talk about guys getting traded, people getting fired, we understand the reality is that these are human beings and they have lives and they have jobs and they have, families, and they have to up and move everything if they get traded. They have to up and move everything if they get, it's not an easy situation. And sometimes as fans, we get into that knee-jerk reaction of like, get rid of whoever, hate this whole staff and blah, 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 blah. While I'm saying that, I am also thinking about the possibility of the Devils going after any of the head coaches that are going to be available after the Stanley Cup run. But the window of when you start hiring coaches, I can't remember if the NHL is very respectful in a lot of ways to each other, where they wait for like rounds to be over to do something. They wait for, they try not to overshadow
like the
anything.
NFL, like the NFL, when you hear like the entire assistant coaching staff of the Super Bowl winning team has already got new jobs for like day, the first day after they win.
Exactly. Yeah, they'll wait, and then they'll make all those. Yeah. Same. But I mean, like it's. So I'm curious to see if you're going to see a major shift in the front office with the Devils, post Stanley Cup Finals, because it's not secure that he's going to be coming back, and it could be, he said
they're very vague on that.
Very vague, right? He never said like, we're coming back.
They called it a
partnership.
They called it,
exactly.
I think when Scotty read it, they called it a partnership, which kind of leaves that door open to be like, well, could be shifted, could be moved to a different role within the organization. Yeah, it's a partnership, so it seems like they want him there long term, but they're not really being definitive about what that role may be beyond today.
They could be waiting for Utica to finish whatever run they're going to go on. Hopefully it's not going to end sooner than later. Hopefully Utica will have a deeper run into the Calder Cup, but maybe they're waiting for that, and then they promote the Utica staff up to the NHL level. I mean, who knows? And that's the thing, is it's all speculation of like what's going on, but I'll tell you one thing. It is all we have. And I was looking at an article as we're getting ready for the show tonight about the Maple Leafs and they're once again losing. I think this is the fifth year in a row that they've lost Game 7 in the first round. And there's a lot of people that are like, they have to shake everything up. There's a lot of people that are like, they need to make at least one or two major moves to kind of like reshift the roster. And there's a lot of people that are saying that they could fire their head coach, which I know Nick Villano, not Chris, his evil twin, but Nick was saying the last time we had him on the podcast with us, he was saying he could see if the Leafs let Sheldon Keefe go, that the Devils should jump all over that, because he would fit the system perfectly, or he could mold this team. I'm curious, man. I think that'd be cool, but the next couple of weeks are going to be a very interesting time for this team, because if you roll it back the way it's been, what is the definition of what the hell is that saying? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over
again, expecting a different result. Yeah.
There you
go. Well, guys, just remember the Devils. If you remember in the 90s, early 90s, they were bounced in the first round quite a bit. And then they won the cup. They had the thing with the Rangers, and then they won the cup. And then they were bounced again for maybe, I think, 3 years in a row in the first round, and, sometimes you need to have these kind of failures before you can get over the hump. I know.
Yeah, no. I think I know what he's talking about. Yeah. No, sometimes you do need to, which again is why that I'm glad that the younger guys are up there in Utica playing in the playoffs, so they can get used to this. Playoffs again that they haven't had in a while here, and
at least there's some semblance of winning.
And there's some, and that's what I was going to say. At least you're getting bounced in the first round. At least you're having like an exciting year, and you're leading into something. Like, listen, I said this to Shorts Guy before we started. I said, would you rather be a Devils fan for the last 5 years, or would you rather be a Leafs fan for the last 5 years? Would you rather go through ineptitude and winning the draft lottery? Here we go, everybody. Or would you rather be like first round, lose to, whoever in 7 games? Which, by the way, John Tavares has one. There's a crazy stat. Has one playoff series win, and that was with the Islanders. His last year with the Islanders, and he has 6 losses with the Leafs. Hey.
Yeah.
Oof.
Those are rough numbers there. And we were talking beforehand, I'd much rather be a Devils fan than be a Leafs fan, because that's just, that's great. You're having a fantastic regular season, but you're just that's a different type of disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
To see your team fail. To see your team fail over and over and over again like that a team that has, such high expectations, has scoring, up the, whatever, all season long. Now, granted, they ran against Vasilevsky, and he is almost unbeatable in those must-win game situations, and he's almost unbeatable in games in the back end of a loss. The next game after a loss, Vasilevsky is just incredible. But at the same time, those guys I want to say Toronto blew the doors off the Lightning, like 7 something in the end of the regular season there. So it's not like that team's not capable, but I think Toronto is in a situation too where they don't have that stellar goaltender to kind of match with their stellar scoring. So that's something that they're going to have to. I think I could see that being a move that Toronto makes in the offseason. But holy crap, being a Red Bulls supporter is almost as bad as Toronto, with the exception of at least Toronto has won championships where we have not. But if you think about it, any Toronto fan born after 1967 is basically like any Ranger fan born. Yeah, any Ranger fan born after 1940 up until obviously that black hole of a year in '94. Oof! It should have been a slashing call.
It's crazy because you look at some of the teams that are competing for the cup, and you try to compare to what the Devils are and the makeup of the team, and you're like, well, could they stack up against this team or that team? And the answer is, unequivocally no, obviously, because where they are. But there's intangibles to this team that lead me to believe that they could, in the next few years, if they do this right, and that goes back to like that number 2 pick, right? If you do this right, because Sam brought up a great point. Do you draft just the best player on the board that you have available? Because that kid Cooley, like I only know about 5 or 6 guys on the draft board that I've been trying to start to do my little research. Cooley's cool because I can pronounce his name very easily, so that's great for me. But there's a defenseman, Nemec, I believe is how you pronounce his name, and Slavkovsky or Slavkovsky, the big kid from Slovak. But you have a couple of kids.
I was
Samsonite. I blew it. Slappy Swanson. Swanson. I love that they actually got the name right, and then he's like, "No, look on the briefcase."
Exactly. Anyway,
your hands are freezing. Anyways, but yeah, you have what they're calling some of these kids like are could be generational talent, but they say that about most people at the top.
They say that every draft year. I feel like that's the new generic phrase: generational talent. Generational talent. Not everyone is generational.
Change
talent.
A franchise.
Well,
but I mean, if you stick with it, you got to do it right. You have to.
Yeah.
Like Fitz is we're past the window, dude. The rebuild's got to be in the back seat now. You got to be like, okay, the house is built, the interior is done, the roof is on.
We got to be putting the roof on this.
We got to be putting a roof on and just get the furnishing in here. Like let's go already.
Yeah,
let's go.
Exactly.
Enough with this teetering at the bottom.
And one of the things, if you've, I don't know how much of the current playoff runs you've been watching, but a lot of these games have been just a constant back and forth, and like a high level, high tempo, frantic defensive play, followed by a flurry of offensive opportunity. That's a pace that we're definitely not at yet because we don't have all those pieces to hold that. Like you got to be able to hold this crazy offensive flurry and then be boom on the break and pushing for your own offensive flurry, and we're just not there yet. I mean, I feel like I don't know, maybe I just because I haven't it's been so weird the last 2 3 years and I haven't paid enough attention because everything's been so weird and segmented. I don't know, the playoffs to me seem like it's just at this incredible pace this year that I just don't remember seeing, at least in
Same.
recent times. The pace of some of these games and the back and forth is like it's wild, and it's great hockey. It's just you can definitely tell we are not at that caliber yet, and that's why we are where we are. So
That's and I hate to put any light on the Penguins Rangers series, but that is a great example of what you're talking about.
yeah,
I mean, I've listened to almost every single one of their games, and I try to watch as much playoff hockey as I can, just because I thoroughly enjoy. When the Devils are out of it, they're out of it. So I don't have like a horse in a race, but at the same time, like it's just so much fun to watch. And that series in particular, like there's so many momentous occasions, like Crosby getting knocked out shifted that series in a huge way. And anybody that disagrees with that is out of their mind, because that series was dead and over with. You knocked out Crosby, and then boom, like the Penguins felt away. And the Rangers got this like that you talk about flurry. They had a flurry of like 3 goals after he got hurt in a matter of like a minute and a half. Yeah. And it was like you could feel like the whole team just come alive and like rally around that. And you could see what's happening in the series and even in the game right now. So the team, like the Devils, the way that they're constructed offensively, they can get guys on their toes, and they can, they can push the play, and you see guys like Jack Hughes, who's a threat every time he has a puck, Jesper Bratt. And so there's pieces, like we said, there's pieces that they have there, but you're 100% right. They can't keep up with, any of the big teams. Like the Florida Panthers right now are so good. They're so good. And they're so deep, and they're big, and they can score. And then when they added Giroux, oh my God, that team is just...
Florida is an odd example to bring up, because they've done this all season long. They've scored, like they've gone down big, and then they've scored 5 or 6 goals to win the game. It's just that to me is just that's a little bit of inconsistency right there. And that's just an odd style of play. That's a very stressful style of play. For all those new Florida Panther fans down there, that's not how hockey should be played, since they have a lot of brand new fans down there, because all of a sudden they found enough fans to fill their building where they could barely drag in 10,000 in the regular season. And now all of a sudden they're selling out, and, a lot of jerseys with tags on it, keeping the receipt.
You know how it is.
I know.
There's a lot of guys like that. Horberdew guy's really good.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what happens in playoff hockey. You see that everywhere. Like, I'm sure the Devils, if we made the playoffs right now, we do it too. And that's it. There's just some people that are like, they're fans of teams that they sit there at an arm's distance because they're like, I'm tired of being disappointed. But I don't know, man. If the Devils if they can get a few, like, I'm not saying they're 2 or 3 pieces away. I feel like they're still a good chunk away, but I feel like they're closer than a lot of people are giving them credit for, or not giving them credit for. But this team has certain intangibles that, golly, if they could get a few more pieces of the right moves, they just need the right thing. They need the right player at the right time.
Yeah, and it'll. I'm hoping it'll happen. And we've not. that's the one thing that we have not denied is that this season showed us a lot of really bright lights and a lot of positive things that just we're almost there. We're not saying that it's just an overall disaster like Buffalo. you know, we've got a lot of we're much closer than Buffalo, that's for sure. Um, we've got a lot of really good pieces. It's just a matter of getting the last of the few to finish it off and kind of glue it all together.
Now, I know Buffalo has 2 picks in the first round. Would you trade the number 2 overall pick with their 2? Because I think they're both top. They're top 15.
They're both top 10. I think they're both top 10. I think
the one is I don't know. I have to look at that. Sam, do you want to see what the?
Okay. I'm looking it up now. 2000.
Oh, going to overtime.
Yeah. Looks like I'll be watching in bed once we're done here. Let's see. Draft order, more. Boom, here we go. Oh, did you guys know
16 and 9
second overall pick?
16 and 9 says Getty 27 on the YouTube live.
Yeah, 16 and 9. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at now. Just found the same time. Yeah, 16 and 9. So
I don't know. That's a little outside the window.
Yeah, it's
unless you trade. I knew what are you going to throw Severson in there? I would trade the number 2 for both of those picks, right?
Yeah.
And then you try to package one of those picks with somebody else to try to get a commodity for it. If you're not sold on anybody in the top of the draft, but that's I don't know, maybe not. That's a crazy thought.
Yeah, but if you're not sold, if you're not sold on anybody in the top of the draft, in order to trade 2 for 9 and 16, and then you're moving 9 and 16, it's
kind of asinine.
Half of one. It's half of one's, or half a dozen, whatever. 6 of one, half dozen the other.
I would swap picks with any team if you can get something in return in 2023.
Yeah, but do you want a prospect? Do you want like a Janssen? Or do you want something that's a proven commodity? That's what we're talking about. So, like, on paper, Andreas Janssen was like a good move for the Devils, right? You're trading Joey Anderson for Janssen, Andre the Johnson. And on paper, it felt like the Devils won that trade. You're like, yeah, of course. You're giving this kid a new atmosphere to play with. He could be a high-scoring winger, and there you go. That's what they needed.
Or a wide receiver.
Or a wide receiver, or Andre the Giant's this Sunday. Andre Johnson coming out of the
frozen tundra. Whatever.
The autumn wind is a devil, and his name is Andre Johnson.
Andreas the Johnson.
Known as Mango.
Known as Mango. But yeah, so my point being, you thought you were getting a really proven commodity, but it really wasn't. So, I mean, he had a decent second year. The second year was a hell of a lot better. We can all agree on that. But at the same time, I don't think you were getting what you were hoping for or expecting. So, I think whatever they're trying to get, it has to be like a boom. We got to swing for the fences, man. Just swing for the fences. Go for it. Just go out there and get somebody big.
It's
not on a 1-year deal though. That's gonna like peace out like Taylor Hall after like their deal.
You know what?
Done.
This is one of those things where you almost ask for more than you think you're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
You almost counter with like, all right, we'll give you the number 2 for this, and this. Just like ridiculous requests, and then if you might have someone that says, okay. It's like if you take a job.
You'll give us Adam Larson, really?
Yeah. It's kind of like sometimes if you get a job and you're like you don't really want it, so you overquote it, and they're like, sure, I'll do it. I'm like, oh crap, now I gotta do this. So, but it's one of those things where you almost over ask for it and see if anyone is dumb enough to fulfill your request. Kind of like the ransom demands in Airheads. With
I'm not farting on no snare drum. Oh my God. That's like the second greatest quote ever. But yeah, dude, I think you're dead on the money. Like you could probably ask for something ludicrous and somebody like the Hall Larson trade. Like who thought that would really be a real thing?
Yeah.
And I wonder if Ray Shero was like, yeah, we'll give you Adam Larson for Taylor Hall. And the other side you hear, you know what? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And he was like,
Wait, that worked?
what? Yeah. Like, I was just joking. I was joking. I didn't know this guy would take it. Yeah, hold on 1 second. I didn't know he was going to really do it. What a moron. So maybe. But yeah, it's got to be something. It's got to be something big. You're not moving that for peanuts.
No.
Unless
no.
they're we'll give you.
I'm hoping that Fitzgerald is smart enough at this point, not to move it for nothing. But this team is as surprising.
Well, he's done everything that Fitzgerald has done, at least in the draft so far. I think has been pretty promising. With Luke Hughes,
I'm not saying he's done it. He's been doing a great job.
Dawson Mercer,
But then,
Holtz.
but then we go off and sign 2 veteran goaltenders that retire or show up hurt.
No one's perfect.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but in one area you need to be at.
It's
least,
only the most. It's only the most important position on the ice. So no one's perfect. It's fine. It's fine.
Just throw anybody back there. Get Gillies. Go, yeah, sure, whatever.
I'm still available.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we should trade Scott Clemens to another team for a goalie scouting prospect.
I still remain unsigned by any NHL franchise, so I can still sign with the Devils if need be. So just want to throw that out there.
Hey, there you go. I mean, you have just as much of a shot as anybody else on the roster. So
well, it seems to be anyone's net at this point. Which, by the way, I saw that we were beaten by our old friend Aaron Dell. The Rochester had a net. So that was like, oh, that sucks.
We can't get away from it. We can't get away from it.
No.
We really can't. Deming is playing in the playoffs, and
every goalie we get, every goalie we get, it goes into the, it's like the Devils a, developmental, team or something like that, and then as soon as they leave the Devils, I don't know, do better.
None of them have sprouted into, world-stopping goldtenders, but
but they were
like
effective enough to play this season.
But it wasn't like
Louis Domingue.
It's not like the Flyers giving off on.
Louis Domingue is only there because what's his name went down and then Jari went down.
Yeah.
So Louis Domingue was probably not even supposed to be here today. That's probably what he said when he made the ice in the playoffs.
Yeah, got any balls down there?
That's the biggest pair I've ever seen, Dingleberry.
That's my favorite part of the whole movie.
Oh man.
Oh, look at you! Can't even pass. Look at you. Anyways, I love that we're throwing around references to like movies that I know we know, but like there's probably some people out there that are like, "What is the balls? What the hell are they talking about? Who says Dingleberry anymore?" Get educated. Get educated. But there's something to be said about the whole going back to the Toronto thing and watching your team lose in 7 games in like 5 consecutive years. I think you brought it up. Like there's a different kind of disappointment when your team just sucks. Like with the Devils, like you were disappointed, and there's games where you turn it on, you're like, all right, the Devils are now losing by 4 off, and then you just walk away. Yeah. And it's like it doesn't bother you for the rest of the night because you know it was going to happen. What's going on with the Leafs is like a different kind of torture. And it reminded me, it's not exactly the same, but it reminds me of the pain we felt with the Carolina series when the Devils had that game in hand. And the game, and I could remember I was having a conversation with my buddy on the phone, and we're talking about the Devils playing the Capitals in the next round. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be great. And then the Hurricanes tied it up. And I was like, okay. And then they ended up winning the game. It was like that level of disappointment, I think, is the only time, not the only time, but
So
that's got to be close to what the Leaf fans are feeling right now.
yeah, so it's that level that we felt year in, year out, no matter how good your team is in the regular season. Because like I said before, that's exactly what we've done with, that I felt with the Red Bulls since I started going to those matches over 10 years ago. That is more because it's like you eventually get into, and I guarantee there were Leafs fans at the beginning of the season that were like, all right, well, what game in the first round are we going to blow it this year? You wind up getting into such a downer mindset, and I'm sure it's not everyone, not every single one of the Leafs
expecting
fans,
the disappointment,
but you expect disappointment, which to me seems to be such an awful mindset, because you almost get what you manifest, what you feel, whatever, and it's like, oh, how am I going to be disappointed this year? Which I'm guilty of that with the Red Bulls, because it's just been, all right, what can they do to break my heart again? And I'm sure the Leaf fans are feeling like, oh, good, they broke my heart again, and now I'm going to not care for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
it's just it's misery. It's just misery.
It's straight misery, and it's like misery on like you get over it. You get over it for like an hour, and then 2 days later, you just out of nowhere will just get pissed off about it. And then you'll be like, all right, whatever, it's over. And then a month later, you're still getting pissed off over it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, and we've all been there, it's kind of like that relationship that you need to end. And it goes really well, and you get back together, and then it falls apart again, and you're miserable. And then you get back together, and then it falls apart again, and you're miserable. And then you get back together. It's that exact thing. We've all been there. We've all done that. We've all made those mistakes.
100%.
It's just constant misery. But they haven't even. So I was kind of looking up some stuff, comparing it to the Red Bulls. Toronto hasn't even been to the finals since '67. They've not even been back there since '67. They haven't won a playoff series since 2004.
Yep.
They didn't qualify for the playoffs for a bunch of years. I don't know the furthest that they've gotten in between '67 and now. I don't know if they made it to the conference finals, which they must have at least made it to the conference finals. But just like, it's just playoff mediocrity, and to have such a lights out team in the regular season and then playoff mediocrity, it's like, oh, that sucks.
So. And the Devils have been guilty of that too, where the Devils have had a great team during the regular season, and Sam brought it up, first round exit, or they get into the playoffs and it's like an absolute wash and a disappointment, and you're like, you're standing there like, how could we go through all this jubilation of excellence during the regular season just to be completely just flat on our face? And of course, there's a couple of reasons. Now you're playing the best of the best. You're not playing teams, that are at the bottom of the barrel for the rest, for a bunch of those wins and those morale boosters and things like that. But it's like, you look at a team like the Maple Leafs and the power, the offensive power that they have. They're not a bad team front to back. Goaltending is, like you said, not the best, but it's Jack Campbell's going to get a good contract, possibly even from the New Jersey Devils, this offseason. So don't be shocked if he's wearing black and red next year. But you have a team that just, you get into the playoffs and you just can't put it together. And I don't understand that. I don't understand how you could go from a team that's so good during the regular season, but then you get into of course, they're playing the defending 2-time Stanley Cup champions. But at the same time, like, if you're that good to just walk over whoever you want to walk over during the regular season, the first round should not be your biggest hurdle. Like, if you're losing in the conference finals, like what happened to the Islanders, if you're losing the way the Islanders did the last couple of years, that makes more sense. Like, that's what you would expect from the Maple Leafs.
Well, yeah, they, and the last They were last in the conference finals in 04. But I think there's something like some stupid fact where it's like they're either 0-5 or 0-9 in series clinching games. Like that's absurd to where you have that many chances to close it out and you just can't do it. That's absurd. And this is in 7-game series. It if they were like one-off games, one game play-ins or whatever, that's to me that's a little bit different. That's still playoff
Even best
disaster,
out of
but
4. Yeah, even best out of 4.
yeah,
Like where
because
it's a
that means
shorter window and you're like, oh.
I mean, you're getting multiple at that chance at that point. You're getting multiple chances to close out a series, and you cannot find that last win.
And that's like you look at the Penguins game, right? And being up 3-1, obviously, like we said before, there's other circumstances like losing Crosby, having your third string goaltender in there, and all this other kind of stuff. But when you're up 3-1, I know like some of the you have to close it out. Listen, if you're 3-1 and you've what the Penguins did to the Rangers in 2 of those games where they, bombarded Igor Shesterkin and had him pulled in 2 games. You're telling me that you can't close that series out? That's a joke. And that sucks too, because that's a great team with a good coach. Like you got Sullivan is one of the best coaches in the NHL, and there's no way that team should have been losing a 3-1 series.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's just misery to be in that position that the Maple Leafs are in. There's only a couple, sets of fans that I wish that misery upon. Leafs, I have nothing wrong with the Leafs, so I really not them, but playoff ineptitude is a whole other level of just annoying. Yep. A whole other level of just pain. But yeah, you're right. The Devils have done that. They've had the past of that, but
I mean, the Devils have lost series when they were up 3-1 too. So
yeah,
they lost the Stanley Cup Finals. They lost the Stanley Cup Finals being up 3-1.
And it is what it is. We've all been there, and it sucks, but that's sports. That's why we follow the teams. That's why we love the team, because for every for all of that, when you do get that one, that championship, it makes it even better.
Mm-hmm.
So
it does. I just hope we don't have to wait another 20 plus years to see it. And understandably so. There's teams that have gone like 50 years. Speaking of the Leafs, 67 until now. That's a hell of a drought to like love a team.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Yeah, you love your team. That's what you got to do. And all those Leafs fans will all those Leafs fans will come back next year, and they'll all pay their money again next year, just like we all would. Yep. we would all spend our money as much as everyone likes to try to show that they don't want to spend money now, so make a big deal of it. Okay, great. There's the door. Don't let it hit your ass on the way out. Show yourself out, but they'll all be back just like we would be.
100%. Even when the Devils suck, hey, listen, we can sit here and we can complain about it as much as we want, but at the end of the day,
we do.
And we do. And we get frustrated and we get pissed off. And there's people that say stupid things and it makes us mad. But at the same time, next year we'll be at opening game. We'll be rooting for whoever they cheer, pick in the draft this year. Excited about any moves they make in the offseason, coaching changes, all those kinds of things. You get into the next season, you'll be excited, you'll be optimistic, and hopefully we won't, get our legs cut out from under us again.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Just a little progress. Just seeing progress.
Yeah.
Is what I'm looking forward to next year. I would like to happily be, overachieving and be surprised. But just progress moving forward would be nice.
Yeah, 100%.
So you guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, works for me. I guess final thoughts.
Long day.
Yeah, final thoughts.
All right.
Thoughts.
You go ahead, Shorts guy. I got to collect my thoughts to even make a final thought.
My final thought is I need to do more draft research because I don't really have any clue of where or what direction we should go in. Sammy was right earlier. We've done well in the draft. I think we've done very well in our drafts since. Crap. Sorry.
No.
Yep. Yep.
Did you learn your lesson, Shorts guy?
Crap.
No,
Well, I hope none of them spill beer in those jerseys they got to return tomorrow.
Damn it.
I hate them all. I really do.
Well.
Which you know what? Which brings me into another piece of this final thought. I've seen a lot of arguments across Devils social media where people are trying to just hate on the Rangers for being in the playoffs, and other people are coming back. Whoa, they made it, we didn't. No, it's okay to hate your biggest rival and to wish nothing but loss onto them, and onto the Rangers going forward. I wish nothing but loss. I hope the Canes destroy them in 4 games in the next round. And I will tell Billy Dean that tomorrow.
It'll be in 3.
Hey, you know what though? I don't want to give props to them, but I will say that's a hell of a win to come back and be down 3-1 and just be completely beaten up and in the corner on the ground, spitting blood, and come back and win a series like that. So,
no, I can't even give them that.
It is what it is.
Anyway,
my final thought will be this: like, listen, playoff hockey is great. I just hope there's more. Game 7s are amazing. Game 7 with everything on the line. Good feeling for those that are on the winning side, a crushing and horrible feeling for those that are on the losing side. When your team's not in the playoffs, it's fun to just watch, sit down, support the sport, get those TV ratings up, get those radios on, trying to make sure that those numbers count and everything else like that. The NHL and ESPN, first year, whatever. Let's see next year a little bit more. And that's all I got to say, man. Just playoff hockey, baby. You got to watch it, got to enjoy it, even when a crummy team wins.
No, I'd just rather be a bitter fan and say that there's more people paying attention to the Yankees and Mets than the Rangers in New York.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
I'm just, I just take the playbook all those years when the Devils were in the playoffs and what Ranger fans would say when their team wasn't in it. That's what they would always say. So I always take those same lines and just throw it right back at them. But now, thanks a lot. It's just now the podcast ended really depressing.
Hey, well, you know what? Let's end it on a good note. We got the number 2 overall pick, and it's gonna be swell.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh well.
I don't know why I had to go back to the 1920s to do that, but
because apparently
it's the roaring 20s, the early 20s, not the late end. Where everybody was in that thing.
Through? How the hell did that get through?
Because it's Louis Domingue.
No, it's not. It was Tristan Jarry in tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they put Jarry. Well, I hope they get injured celebrating. Anyway.
You know what? I was going to save my remarks till after the podcast. It went along that lines. I didn't want to say it out loud because you know how it would go on social media. Yes, that's
I know.
Said that he thinks Shesterkin should snap his knee and
he's bitter.
Oh, I'll be the first to admit, and Kelly will back this up, that I am not good after a loss. I am very bitter after a loss. So,
we all.
Should we play a prank on Billy Dean because he wants to do hockey on tap tomorrow? I should send him the group text. Sorry guys, no hockey on tap tomorrow. Can't make it.
Yes, let's do that, please. Well, I want to
thank all those tuning in, YouTube Live, Facebook Live. Good to see Jake Wakely back. Scotty, I hope you're doing well. Till next time, let's go Devils.